You're watching Thunder Bay News Network. WBKB News at 6 starts now.
Live from Alpena, Michigan, this is WBKB 11 Evening News. With news anchors Sherry Stewart and sports director Tyler Cruz. This is your up-to-date and continuing coverage on local news, weather, and sports. These are the stories that matter and the news that affects you most. This is WBKB 11 Evening News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Sherry Stewart. Alpena's Board of Trustees continued its research for restructuring the fire department. Volunteer consultant Rhino Schultz presented a comprehensive intervention report at Tuesday's meeting. Schultz says based on his research, he believes the department is sustainable.
But I don't think it's an unsustainable rocket ship, if I could put it that way. I think it's definitely sustainable, but it just needs to be tweaked, and there needs to be clear leadership and management principles and practices put in place.
With a new chief and new vision, the board says they are excited to start work on improvements. With this latest research, the board can begin to work on a more formalized restructuring plan. An Alpena man has been arrested for several counts of criminal sexual conduct. Police say 23-year-old Tyler Paul Seegert knew the victim and assaulted her in the early hours of July 19th. A woman and her daughter came to MSP on July 25th to report that the daughter had been assaulted. Following an investigation, an arrest warrant was issued. Seegert turned himself in to authorities on August 30th. He was charged with 2 counts first-degree criminal sexual assault and 2 counts third-degree criminal sexual conduct. Students at Ellawide Elementary School returned to class Monday. Their start date was pushed back by 2 weeks because of incomplete renovations at the building. Last month, the district cited the pandemic for causing delays in receiving construction materials on time. Superintendent David Rabideau says students will not have to make up the time they missed because of the late start. Yesterday, we reported on a fire that took place in the 400 block of Saginaw Street. In honor of September's National Preparedness Month, we caught up with Alpena Fire Department's Risk Reduction Officer, Andy Marceau, to give you fire prevention safety tips.
It is so important to have working smoke alarms, one in every level of your house and one in every bedroom. But you got to have a plan. You got to think about what you're going to do, how you're going to get out safe.
And Marceau gave WBKB one last important tip for you to remember. He calls it close before you doze. Close your bedroom door before you go to sleep. If a fire starts, this method will give you extra time to get out through the window without the fire spreading to the bedroom. Good advice. While hospitals in parts of the country struggle to keep up with the number of COVID-19 patients, the government is reevaluating data to determine if Americans should get a booster shot. Other countries are already making the move for parts of their population. Natalie Brand reports from the White House.
Emergency departments in hard-hit areas are overwhelmed with COVID patients.
We lost 5 patients yesterday.
Teresa King is the ICU nurse supervisor at Cape Coral Hospital in Florida.
There's no time to wait. There's people waiting for the beds before it even happens.
In Alabama, where only about 40% are fully vaccinated, ICU beds have reached capacity.
We've got patients on ventilators in hallways.
More than 300 additional Kentucky National Guard members have been sent to serve in logistical roles at hospitals across that state, trying to relieve some of the burden.
While some states struggle to get even a first dose in people's arms, Friday, an FDA advisory committee will hold a meeting to discuss Pfizer's application for a booster shot.
This comes as 2 outgoing FDA officials questioned the need for a third shot, telling The Lancet widespread boosting should be undertaken only if there is clear evidence that it is appropriate. It's a position that puts them at odds with the FDA, top Biden administration health officials, and outside medical experts.
I think it's inappropriate for current FDA officials to write an op-ed based on their ideas.
CBS medical contributor Dr. David Agus says new data coming out of Israel makes a convincing case. The country approved a booster shot for 60 and older in late July.
I've talked to health officials there, and it's clear that immunity goes down on a monthly basis, and giving a booster shot raises immunity 4 to 10-fold.
The UK announced starting next week it will offer booster shots for people over 50 and the vulnerable. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, the White House.
Former Detroit Police Chief James Craig had to yell over an angry crowd to formally announce that he's running for governor of Michigan. At an event in Detroit earlier Tuesday, Craig was surrounded by protesters who shouted him down as he tried to throw his hat in the ring. Craig said he's a proven leader who refuses to get boxed in because of the color of his skin or partisan affiliation.
My name is James Craig, and I'm running to be your governor. Yeah! The governor for the state of Michigan. The message is, I'm winning. I got the message out anyway. I'm winning.
So far, Craig is the most high-profile Republican to announce a campaign to challenge Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Craig is one of 10 Michigan Republicans who have formed fundraising committees to run for governor next year. The Oscoda Veterans Park is now the official home of 2 military vehicles. Early Tuesday morning, crews offloaded an M113 and an M114 to their new display positions at the Veterans Park of Northeast Michigan. These vehicles come from the Department of Defense and will remain on display so long as the park takes good care of them. Joe Brin, head of the local VFW, says the M113 in particular carries a lot of history.
It was actually used in Korea and Vietnam. Eventually, the Bradley was supposed to replace it. The Bradley couldn't hold up to it as well in Iraq and Afghanistan, so they brought the M113 back. It's still in use today.
Brin says the DoD has already offered them a 3rd vehicle. The park plans on giving these machines replica weapons and fresh paint in the near future. The Thunder Bay Folk Society has received an important grant. A check for $2,000 was recently presented to the organization. The money will help cover expenses related to the 7th annual Thunder Bay Folk Festival. The dates are September 24th and 25th. The festival relies on the generosity of local donors. This grant comes from First Federal of Northern Michigan Legacy Foundation as part of their 3rd quarter grant awards. And the Alpena County Public Library says it is pausing services to the public beginning this Friday at noon in both temporary locations. They say staff must prepare for the move back into the library building. Patrons may return items to the drop box at the location at Bear Point Plaza until September 28th. And patrons may also continue to access all digital services during this time. For more information, we have this story posted on our website. More news ahead for you here on WBKB. Coming up, we have your Pets of the Week, and meteorologist Edward St. Pei will have your 7-day forecast next.